our next session, our next healthy discussion, productive discussion here on stage, harnessing the power of GenAI for data-driven insights and business decisions. Let's find out what that's all about. Let's introduce now all the panelists. Please, can you come to the side of the stage? Thank you so much, all the panelists and our moderator as well. So from Pathway, Zuzanna Stamirowska. From Founders Future, Matthieu Benkerant. From Kayrros, Clément Licour. And from Harvard Alumni Entrepreneurs, Philippe Guarino.
So hello, can you hear me? Hello everyone, and as we approach the end of the day, we've had really a fantastic exposure to so many different aspects of GenAI, and what we'd like to do today to finish our discussion is really look at some of the impacts and implications that we have on businesses as we move forward. So I'm really honored to be joined by three experts on our panel today. So we're going to be looking at some of the applications, some of the trends, and how business might be able to really harness generative AI's potential. So I'd like to introduce our panelists today. Matthieu Benkerant is the Chief Operating Officer and Partner at Founders Future, where he's responsible for relationships with entrepreneurs and limited partners. He also oversees the operations and processes for the firm. A fun fact about Matthieu, he's a passionate traveler and trekker, and he just returned from a wonderful trip to Georgia, where he was discovering the mountains in the Caucasus. So if you haven't been, it's stunning. Clément Licour is the GenAI lead at Kayrros, a company specializing in satellite-based measurement of the global environmental impact of human activities. Having created, deployed, and integrated AI solutions, Clément is now at the forefront of leading the GenAI revolution within the company. And a fun fact about Clément, after a bet with his coworkers, he started running during lunchtime and enjoyed it so much that he recently had a chance to run the Marathon pour tous during the Olympics. So congratulations, Clément. And finally, Zuzanna Stamirowska is the CEO and co-founder of Pathway, the AI company that enables deployment of AI applications at scale and whose technology powers customers such as NATO and La Poste. And the fun fact with Zuzanna, I'm actually going to let her share herself.
Okay, I actually wanted to be a cowboy when I was 5. And yeah, I'd say that it's kind of pretty much the case, you know, when you move into entrepreneurship. And I still ride horses and shoot.
Trailblazing, yes. Great. So to get started, Matthieu, you work extensively with founders in the GenAI space. Could you tell us a little bit more about Founders Future and some of the trends that you're seeing with the companies that you're working with?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. So yeah, a few words about Founders Future. So we launched Founders Future in 2018, launched by Marc Menassé, who is a serial entrepreneur and business angel. At Founders Future, we invest in seed-stage companies since now 6 years. Mainly, we are looking for entrepreneurs in AI and also in the climate tech sector. But initially, we invest a lot in food, in the future of food, in the future of mobility. We have now around more than 100 companies. Some of them are quite successful, such as Lydia, Alman, 900, Memo Bank, and also all over Europe, such as Waterdrop. And so now, yeah, we are also trying to put AI at the heart of your operating model, but I guess we will talk about it after.
Thank you. Thank you. Zuzanna, you're at the forefront when it comes to addressing some of the most pressing challenges in terms of processing data. Can you talk to us a little bit about your company, Pathway, and some of the solutions and insights you are working on?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's such a pleasure to be here. So at Pathway, we pretty much started with this, realization that we need to be able to ingest and treat live data, pretty much to build live AI or intelligent systems. That was the first idea that we had. And we kind of have this statement that almost every data is live because data just keeps on, as the world keeps on updating in a way. We need to be able to capture this change and feed it into IT systems in general and specifically AI systems to be able to retrain the models and in fact be reactive just to the world as it is. So for this, we built a layer of tooling, a layer of engineering, which allows the deployment of AI applications at scale, as actually you said before, in such a way that it's robust. Computations can scale properly when you need them. You can actually ingest a lot of data at different paces with sometimes speeds that actually power, for example, some of the Formula One racing teams. So we are able to get there, and then next steps are going towards life intelligence, so the models themselves. I don't know if you would like me to develop on the challenges or the use cases we've seen, but
Sure, if you'd like
sure,
to,
yeah.
we can.
So in terms of the use cases, I mean, actually you mentioned we work with NATO. So definitely there's quite a lot of interesting insights to learn from the data for decision making, which happens to be critical for 1 billion citizens of the alliance. So this is one, but then you may also think of Pathway every time you get your Colissima package. Actually, Pathway is being used to process information about the locations of all the trucks and assets of Flapost to actually deliver predictions on delivery times and manage the operations. And these are like very practical and tangible ways in which Pathway is already enabling the AI revolution for everybody and at enterprise scale.
Wonderful, thank you. Clément, your company is doing some really fascinating work in the area of some of the most pressing environmental challenges that we're seeing. Can you talk to us a little about Kayrros and what you do?
Sure. So first, very happy to be here. Such a pleasure to be here today. So Kayrros is a geospatial data company. So we're working since now 8 years based on satellite imagery on all the geospatial points that you can have on the Earth. So we're doing AI since a couple of years right now. And what is very important for us is we don't want to miss this GenAI revolution today. It's for us something that is complementary of what we're doing since a lot of years right now in terms of AI. We've made we really convinced that it will be available for all of customers to use GenAI today to access to the data, to consume it, to use them. That's why we've made the choice at Kayrros to start by that, making easy to consume the data using GenAI to find the right insights, to find what you want into the data.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'd like to take a step back and look at some of the macro issues and themes that businesses are facing in terms of generative AI. This is a question for the panel. So, how do you see generative AI transforming the way organizations leverage data for decision making?
I can actually go maybe first.
Please.
I mean, if you just think about how generative AI came to be, the very big shift that happened was the go-to-market of OpenAI. It was a consumer-first go-to-market where everybody was able to touch it and feel it in a very simple UI that made sense to everybody. So in the way, the first adoption happened for the fact that users started to use it, and I believe in one of the talks before we heard that you have this shadow use of AI because just users are so used to it that it makes sense, right? It makes life easier. So this is one of the ways that people actually see they can become more productive, and it actually comes a bit like bottoms up. But then there is a question of, okay, how to infuse GenAI into the enterprises and how to make sure they're able to deploy it in such a way that it's secure, that, I don't know, sensitive data that the CEO is managing is not necessarily leaked to employees, for example, right, or that we respect the regulations. And then what we see with the clients, like first of all, there's quite a lot of maybe certain anxiety about, okay, what to do, how to use it, and whom to trust. There's a lot of buzz. This is one of the disciplines which is evolving extremely quickly, right? We have new papers, new technologies coming up every day. And it's tough to find exactly whom to trust, what makes sense economically as well. Some of the biggest ways where we see potential, and I mean also like the customers see potential, is generally speaking automation. That can be pushed way further than what we're seeing now, like probably to the point that we can automate automation. Because one of the problems of automation is that first you need to identify what you want to automate, right? And imagine you can attack the process. That means that you can transform data, structured data into structured data. It's not necessarily the chatbot use case that we know as consumers, but it's a very valuable one because all of a sudden you can access all this kind of data or information that you have about the business and that you couldn't access before. So all the context kicks in. Like imagine slides. I mean, I don't know who in the room was ever searching for slides but couldn't find them because some colleague changed something. It should be like 47% of all digital workers who struggle with this. And these are massive savings. You can just, have always like easily with a chat find the right version of a slide with like whoever made it. And this is just unstructured data that you can pretty much, query easily. And these are very practical use cases, which are small when you want to make them kind of per use case, per usage, per query, let's say, but then they give massive savings at the scale of organizations. That's a couple of.
Any thoughts?
I fully agree on the first part, that the fact that today everyone is using GenAI. If you're looking for your families, your neighbors, even the young people is using GenAI like it's the new things to use. So in the future, you will have this first entry point to use GenAI to start exploring, get insight, get your hands up. If you take an example today of dashboarding, what is a good dashboard, what is a good BI, is something that answers to your question quickly and efficiently. You don't want to go to a dashboard, spend 10 minutes to find the information you need. Tomorrow, why wouldn't you use a GenAI tool that answers perfectly to the question you need? And you don't have to spend 10 minutes looking for the specific details. So tomorrow, new people that's using GenAI as its first tool will have this entry point to answer basically all the questions they want based on the data sets, on replacing at the end some dashboarding elements, some BI tools that today are using this.
Yeah, so as I told you, AI is at the heart of your investment thesis, but we also aim to put AI at the heart of your operating model, which is quite different for an investment fund compared to like a company. So that's why since 1 year we started to collaborate and to partner with some data engineers to better understand what we can do in order to bring improvement, in order to bring more efficiency and more performance into all your investment cycle. So from the sourcing to the qualification of companies, how we could be better and how we could help our investment team to be more efficient. There is also another step regarding all the steps of the due diligence for market research, for data analysis, but also for collecting more data and then to better understand the data. And by the way, at the end of the due diligence, we need also to do some investment memo. So we are also trying to put some GenAI from the automation, but also using also AI tools to have more efficient and more performant regarding that. And the last step of your investment cycle is also the portfolio management, which is quite crucial for us, especially now. And so same things. We are also building some technological bricks to be more efficient on this step, especially for specific use case when we want to do a potential reinvestment, when we want to do a bridge. There is also some more data which can help us to do the right decision at the right moment.
Thank you. So question about implementation. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing? Because that's a big problem, or a big challenge, I should say. What are you seeing that companies are struggling with in your experience?
Access management. So, I mean, generally speaking, we're talking at scale, right? Very many projects, or maybe taken differently. Many people started with GenAI doing hundreds of POCs that are kind of quick to hack. We have tooling, right? But then looks nice, but how to get to accuracy on which we can actually, that we can actually rely upon for our business decisions, and how to make sure that we're really secure. And then it goes to the entire layer of a bit technical indexing, and pretty much just managing the data and retrieving it to be able to adjust AI to our own context, and how to mix it, with the data that we actually need. Because otherwise we could just be asking ChatGPT, right, for everything if it's not sensitive. I mean, the value is to be able to feed our own knowledge and keep it private. So yeah, I'd say this is pretty much it. Security, scale, management of big databases.
I think the first thing is to fight the wow effect. First time you go to LLM GenAI, wow, that's crazy. At the end, does it really work? That's another question. Tomorrow, if I need to take a decision based on something that is out of a GenAI, I need to understand what was the behavior, what was the logic behind to get to this answer. Because if I don't get that, I will not trust it, and I will not take my decision based on this. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as you mentioned, the compliance. The people want that their data, their prompt are their own property. You don't want that your prompt, your data, train other model for other people, for your competitors, for customers. So I think that's the two main things that is important in implementation.
Excellent.
Yeah, implementation is a big challenge, especially for an investment fund, because we don't have any, IT or product team. So first of all, so we try to have first a test and learn approach to launch some MVP and to test. And I like the wow effect, because even for our investment team, we need to have like a first product able to help them quickly. Then the second main challenge, according to me, is that technology is moving fast, is growing fast, and so there are always a challenge regarding make, buy, or partner. We always wanted to do like in-house technological bricks, also to build like an unfair advantage for us compared to our other competitors, and so that's the way that we have in mind. We continue also to see different technologies, and again, because everything is moving fast, the main challenge is to do the right decision between in-house or maybe partner with something which is always working.
Excellent. And how do you think the rise of the increase of use of generative AI is going to change or could change leadership within organizations?
Well, the CEOs will know more. So definitely useful. So I imagine an increased level of transparency. This is one. Then I think, well, there is a question, of course, of, let's say, we're doing optimization, in some cases, cost optimization. And then what do we do with this, let's say, extra time that all of a sudden we've got in? And this will be a difficult thing to manage for the leaders. And definitely there will be a generational differences between different cohorts, let's say, of employees, like especially the ones that will enter the job market. They will have the expectation of the AI tools, right? So I imagine that even by this, companies will be forced to adopt faster, because otherwise it just will be tricky to attract talent. I guess this is it for me.
if you want to take a good decision as an executive, you need to base it on real data, on what says your teams, on basically everything that make an organization working, but you need at the end to get the final result of it. Today, if you look for the more than the past, we have just stored data since 10 years with data lake, with data stuff, with all the slides that, in fact, people are producing. But at the end, what you want to do is make a big and great decisions. And all the leaders will say that there is no bad decisions, they just have bad data as input. So I think in that way, you can change the things by reconciling everything that your organization has produced for you to make the good decision.
Yeah, same things regarding us, regarding data. I mean, we have only 6 years. By the way, we have the chance to have more than 100 companies into our portfolio. So meaning that we have a few of datas and we can have like some patterns. But also the thing is to have also external datas able to enrich and nurture, by the way, your reflection. But that's also quite complicated to merge both external and internal datas, and at the end of the day also to have maybe the right processes and the right decision to put on the table and during the discussion for the investment decision. But I think a few VC funds into our ecosystem, especially in US, which are much bigger, try to do it and launch it, and we have first few good results. I mean,
so it's kind of unfair for me to ask a question that is so broad, because we could have a whole day-long or seminar on this. But what are some of the ethical and human considerations that one should take into account when working with GenAI? Again, being cognizant of the time.
Well, I think there's the responsibility for the output, right? Obviously. So let's imagine we're a CEO. We're consuming our analytics as a chat. We're getting input for our decision making. Still, let's assume we're not 100% accuracy yet. We should know about this, right? We shouldn't be able just to blame it on, well, GPT said so. So, I mean, I love engineering challenges, right? So then usually you can actually solve it by UI and link to the sources, which brings, let's say, the responsibility back to the decision maker. That still means that the decision is made by a human. And funnily enough, I know that folks were trying, and I'm still doing this, to automate ship captains, you know? Yeah. And it's not too tough. They usually go slowly. It's like, all right. Just that the moment something happens, who's liable? Like, whose responsibility was it? So in the end, the ship captain doesn't cost so much, and it makes sense to have them, other than the fact that they're great people, right? So responsibility is one. Personally, I really worry about generated content, you know, deep fakes and all of this. Like, this is just completely untrue. And I know I have kids, so then this, you know, becomes even, with social media, becomes even tougher. And of course, we're going into, you know, general artificial intelligence, which is going to be fun.
Fully agree. I think at some points the human needs to take the decisions, meaning that it's not AI, GenAI that will take the decisions at the end. If you are facing a dilemma because the model tells you something that is unethical for you, at the end you need to take the decisions. That's human that is at the end taking. It's very important, I think, for me in that case. And the second thing is about, you know, the hallucination that can bring from this. Do you really trust something that can just lie to you? Because I think we have all tested on ChatGPT. Just try about 10 seconds, 30 seconds, just try to find the way it lies to you. I think we need to have that into consideration.
Yeah, well, you know, for us, at the end of the day, we bet on founders, and we bet on team, and we bet on people. But by the way, thanks to GenAI, AI, anyway, we just need to to bring people in the same room and to bet on ideas, to bet on an ambition, and by the way, using efficiency data and collective with everyone.
Wonderful. So just to conclude, could you give us your top recommendation, practical advice for companies that want to implement AI, Gen AI successfully? Just one sentence.
Go slowly and don't get discouraged by low accuracy at the very beginning.
Search the value, don't implement GenAI just for GenAI, I think.
Stay focused on critical things is key for also do the best decision.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful, thank you so much.